Welcome back to Play Action Fantasy Football. This is Jonathan here. Today we're going to be going over the rankings for running backs week 2. It's going to be a big week for the running backs. And once again, starting off number 1, I put McCaffrey at the Rams. Last week I had him at number 1. I still think he's up there. The Rams, they have a pretty good defense. However, Christian McCaffrey is going to be putting up points. Purdy's throwing the ball. McCaffrey, he had 152 rushing yards. He did fumble the ball, scored a touchdown last week at Pittsburgh. So I do think he's going to be putting up numbers again. Number 2, Nick Chubb. I think he's going to be putting up a lot of good numbers, a lot of carries against the Steelers. The Steelers' defense hasn't been looking very good. Obviously, last week against the 49ers was very tough for them. Nick Chubb went over 100 yards last week. It's kind of like normal for Nick Chubb to do at this point. So I think Nick Chubb will definitely get to 100 yards against the Steelers. And then I would not be surprised if he got in the end zone once or twice. Number 3, we got Austin Eckler at the Titans. Eckler had a good game last week. Once again, great quarterback throwing it out. Eckler, as everybody knows, catches the ball a lot. Titans defense not looking too great against the run. So I believe Eckler will be putting up at least 20 points. Which brings me to number 4, Josh Jacobs. He's going to be at the Bills. The Raiders offense, they got a couple different weapons, but not much. They got Devontae Adams. Garoppolo isn't a great quarterback, I'll say that. So I think Josh Jacobs is going to get good usage this week. He's going to get the ball handed off to him. He's going to get passes, and he's definitely putting up points this week. 5, Derrick Henry is going to be home against the Chargers. Not a terrific start for Henry last week, but I do think he's going to turn it up a little bit against the Chargers defense this week. Last week, the Chargers were only ranked 17 in run stopping, so I don't think that that's going to change much, and I think Derrick Henry is going to have a hell of a day. Which brings me to number 6, James Conner. A lot of people probably doubt this guy. However, I think with Murray's injuries, Conner put up okay points last week. He caught 5 passes, only 8 yards, which kind of hurt him a little bit in fantasy, but he's going to get more yards per catch throughout the next few weeks, throughout this next game at the New York Giants. He's going to get plenty of carries, so I would see him being a running back 1 or running back 2 in your league. Now, number 7, Tony Pollard. No surprise here, is going to be home against the Jets. Jets have a good defense, don't get me wrong. However, Tony Pollard is there to put up numbers. I mean, last week, what was his stats? I think he had 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did fumble the ball, caught 2 passes for about 12 yards, but he can catch the ball for sure out of the backfield with Prescott, and then he can definitely run the ball, get in the end zone. That's who they like to get the ball in the end zone with. So Tony Pollard is a solid number 7. Number 8, Joe Mixon. He's going to be at home against the Ravens, who have a decent defense. They've been putting up good rushing defense last week, so I do think that they will try to contain him as much as possible. However, Joe Mixon out there with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, he's not going to be playing to the best of his abilities, I don't think yet. So he's going to be giving the ball a lot off to Joe Mixon, little dump-offs, little handoffs. So I do think Joe Mixon is going to be taking advantage of that. Number 9, Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots at home against the Dolphins. A good divisional matchup. I think it's going to come a lot down to running the ball. Ramondre Stevenson is the definition of that by all means. And last week, the Chargers had a field day with the Miami's run defense. So I think it's safe to say that Ramondre Stevenson is going to get things done there down in Miami. Now, number 10, Saquon Barkley is going to be at Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals defense is not very good. They definitely struggled against Washington's run last week. So I do think that Saquon Barkley is also going to have a field day there in Arizona. He's going to get to do what he wants. I don't think the passing game by New York is too scary or nothing like that, so that Barkley will get his usage and carries. And now number 11, Aaron Jones. What a week that man had. He is questionable for this upcoming week. So if he does not play, look for A.J. Dillon to get some more carries. But against the Falcons defense, they're in Atlanta. I think that Aaron Jones has proven himself, though. He's going to be getting catches, running the ball, and putting up numbers. So I strongly put him at number 11 if he's going to be playing. Number 12, Rachaad White. Kind of a surprise to me a little bit. Some people are higher on him than others. But home against Chicago Bears, I think Tampa Bay has a very good chance on this one. And I think people underestimate the running back situation there in Tampa Bay. You know, they look at Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield, all these other components. But when it comes down to it, I think Rachaad White is going to be there to put up solid numbers. Now, number 13, James Cook at home against the Raiders. When we're recording this, it is on a Monday, so James Cook does play tonight. So we haven't really got to see him play in the regular season yet. But I do think he's a solid number 13 at home against the Raiders, who were able to shut down Denver's run game last week. So I don't see James Cook doing anything spectacular, but I do see him getting his carries in as he always does, get at least 60, 70 yards, couple receptions, maybe a touchdown. So look at him for number 13 maybe in your flex or your number 2 running back. Which brings me to number 14, David Montgomery at home against the Seattle Seahawks. David Montgomery had a great game last week. I'm pretty high on him, honestly. I think that he's going to get good carries. A lot of people say Jahmyr Gibbs is coming in, which he is. But Montgomery is still going to get his carries. So Seattle Seahawks defense, not too impressive. Definitely look for Montgomery to get some points. Number 15, Kenneth Walker. I like him a lot too. Didn't have the best game last week. He's going to be at Detroit again this week, which is not going to be an easy one, which is why I do have him at number 15. But still look at him once again, maybe flex or running back 2. Number 16, Travis Etienne at home against the Chiefs. Chiefs defense hasn't been looking great, obviously. Etienne has been playing pretty well with, Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to him now. He's a very mobile running back, can get open, run the ball. So solid number 16, flex receiver 2 or running back 2. Number 17, Alexander Mattison. He has the potential to go even higher than number 17, I think. He's going to be at Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's defense is not looking very great. They're giving up a good amount of rush yards and giving up a lot of big plays. So I do think Alexander Mattison definitely has good potential this week. It's going to be a good matchup. Minnesota, Eagles, both good teams. Number 18, Raheem Mostert at Patriots. He's an easy number 18. I know Tyreek Hill has had a great game last week. It's going to take a little bit of the attention off the running back situation, though, and I think Mostert, he's obviously going to be their head running back. He's going to get a lot of passes from Tua, run the ball, so look for him to put up points at the Patriots, but at the same time, I would be careful as well, just because the Patriots do have a good defense, and anytime the Patriots are home, you don't want to mess with them necessarily, so I would put Mostert as my flex. Maybe not want to start him at your running back unless you have to, but he's definitely a strong flex. Number 19, Isaiah Pacheco for the Chiefs is going to be at Jacksonville this week. He had a semi-okay performance in week 1. I was expecting a little bit better with, Travis Kelce missing and the receiver situation there in Kansas City. But I do believe that they're going to start to realize can't just throw it to Tony and Sky Moore every time, clearly. So they're going to get the ball more to Pacheco, and I don't see a reason why he doesn't get in the end zone at some point. But he's definitely more of a flex, maybe running back 2 situation. Number 20, Miles Sanders, now with Carolina, is at home against the Saints. The Saints last week shut down the run. They have the number 1 run defense so far. I know it's only week 2, but they have the number 1 run defense so far. So you're going to have to put respect on that. And I don't think Miles Sanders is going to have a great day. But after seeing how the offense in Carolina works last week, I think they're going to try to feed Miles Sanders the ball a little more, if they want to win. So Miles Sanders, solid flex, nothing more than that. And the big one, number 21, Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons is going to be home against the Packers. I don't know where I want to start with this one. I think it's kind of low for me to put him at number 21, I'm not going to lie. But he's going to have to keep proving me wrong for me to move him up. Packers defense, specifically their run defense, did not look good last week. Robinson, on the other hand, looked pretty promising in his first rookie debut game. He put up 56 yards rushing, 6 for 6 receiving, and 27 yards receiving for a touchdown reception. So clearly Desmond Ridder likes to throw the ball to this guy, which is an amazing sign. That means he's going to be getting a lot of fantasy points. Those receptions add up for sure. So definitely do not leave Bijan Robinson on your bench this week. Definitely get him in your flex or running back too. Number 22, Brian Robinson for Washington Commanders at Denver Broncos. The Broncos last week, they kind of shut down the running game for the Raiders, so they looked pretty good. And for that reason, I would have to put Brian Robinson at 22. I would maybe like to put him higher, but this is good defense. Brian Robinson could have a very good game, but at the same time, I would not put all my money on it. I think he's a solid 10 points. Which brings me to number 23, Khalil Herbert, running back for the Bears, going to be at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. Last week, Khalil Herbert did not have the best game. He only put up about 27 yards, caught 3 passes for 37 yards, and had a 2-point conversion. So it wasn't like he played absolutely terrible, but he definitely did not get what a lot of fantasy owners wanted out of him. I think this week he has a bit better chance against the Buccaneers defense and their run defense specifically. So look for Herbert to get in there, throw him in your flex. Don't be afraid to play him. He definitely is not a bad pick this week. Number 24, Tyler Algier at home against the Packers for the Falcons. Algier had a great game last week, sharing carries with Bijan Robinson, but he still put up good fantasy points. I mean, this man had, 75 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 19 yards. So I think that's a pretty good game for a running back that's splitting carries with another one. So I definitely would start Algier this week at home against the Packers. Definitely throw him in the flex, even maybe running back too if you need to. Number 25, this was my big sleeper this week, I guess. Gus Edwards for Baltimore at Cincinnati. With J.K. Dobbins being out, I think Gus Edwards is going to be stepping up. Lamar Jackson did not have a great game by no means, so they're going to have to start bringing some other elements into the situation. So Gus Edwards might be the answer to that. So if you'd like to take a little bit of a risk on that, Gus Edwards is the way to go. Throw him in your flex, see what he does. And that will be everything for the running back week 2 rankings. I hope you guys liked it. Again, my name's John here at Play Action Fantasy Football. Next up, we're going to have the tight end rankings coming out. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, share. Also comment. Let us know what you think about our rankings. If you like them, dislike them, what you think. We love to get feedback. So have a good one, and we will talk to you guys soon.